Hey, and welcome to the Dad FC Football Podcast. You're here with Glenn, and I'm joined as ever with my good mate Yanis. How are we doing?
Yeah, good man. How are you doing?
Yeah, interesting week, mate. So we adopted a dog called Finn.
Finn.
Big Finn. You met Finn.
Yeah.
If you hear a dog barking in the background, it's just Big Finn in the house running riot. Molded in the household pretty well, I'd say.
Yeah.
Until Ange had to leave him alone for the first hour, and turns out he likes dragging plants about.
Oh no.
Yeah, so he dragged a plant off the front window, through the living room into the kitchen, and like the soil was like everywhere. So I was at work, and you sent me a text saying, "How's your day going?" And it's just a picture of the kitchen, the living room, absolute riot.
That was fine.
Yeah, so that was interesting.
I was sort of flying solo with the kids this weekend, so Mrs. had a rearranged because of COVID Christmas party up in Edinburgh.
Christmas party?
So
are you sure you shouldn't just blagging that one?
Aye. Well, that's what you say she had. But, so they had the budget used, and just was getting diaries together and stuff, so that was used on Friday. And then she had a spa day for one of our mates down here, dressmate down here, her birthday.
So you had a back-to-back pass?
Back-to-back pass, aye. So
mate, you gotta get that one banked.
Yeah, so I was out down the woods with the kids and all that, and it was sound. And then Sunday night I was like, I have a pizza. I hadn't had anything to eat for dinner. I was like, I have a pizza, mate.
I thought you couldn't say for days because Kaylee doesn't. I haven't eaten since Thursday.
I was looking for the bins. There's not even anything in the bins, man.
Yeah, Freddie's getting hungry.
So I was like, I fancy a pizza, and he's like, I'll have a bit of pizza. So I went to go get pizza, and we'd been at Plessy Woods, which is the woods round here for people that don't know. And Harper, my eldest, had picked a stone that she wanted to keep. So I was leaving the house to go collect the pizza, and the stone she wanted to keep, she'd put which feels like strategically outside the door, stood outside, properly rolled my ankle, rolled my ankle to the point where I was like, come bursting back through the door in case what's wrong. I was like, my ankle, like as if my leg had fallen off. And then also at the same time, tripped my phone whilst doing it. And I thought I was I thought it was bad enough that I would be on a moon boost for a few days, but in actual fact, I made a fairly swift recovery. So
you just milked it a little bit.
Yeah, I was like ice and everything, man. I had it up at height. I was like, I'm going to be off work I'm not going to be in the office for a couple of days, but that was alright. But yeah, that was
soldiered on,
mate. Yeah, all for because kid wants to keep a stone. That's it though. But decent footballing weekend.
Yeah, there's a lot happened. I think some of the Prem games were a bit flat, which we'll get into, but there's a lot to talk about, so let's get straight into it, mate.
Let's do it, man.
Okay, so I suppose we're going to start with the cup final.
Yeah, got to.
One of the best 0-0s I think I've seen for a long, long time. Don't know how it stayed 0-0. There was posts getting hit. There was absolute sitters getting missed.
There was some saves, outrageous saves.
Yeah, there's some goals getting disallowed. Like, for every one of the games, you look back in the history books and say, it was one of them cup finals where everyone was just reserved. It was a game of chess. But like it wasn't. It was like both teams going at each other and creating chances. And
Mendy's double save was out
of this world.
Yeah, so quality, wasn't it?
So to get to the end of 90 minutes 0-0 was remarkable, but then for it to get to 120 0-0, pens. Everyone wants to talk the penalty, so let's just jump.
Before that, any of the disallowed goals that could have counted or should have counted for you? Any tight ones?
I get why Chelsea ones were offside. I understand why the Liverpool one was, but if I was to pick one that should stand, I'd almost argue it should be the Liverpool one.
Matip's header.
Yeah, the Van Dijk. I can't remember who was holding on to, but that he was ruled offside for interfering with play. But I almost think that the ball had gone past him. That defender wasn't going to track back that far.
It's not just think he's interfering with play, but Mbappe in the Nations League final, who and like that goal where the movement towards the ball was so blatantly obvious it took the defender away. That wasn't interfering with play. But I think it's probably fair.
Yeah, they levelled themselves out over the game, I suppose. And then, what did you make of this whole Kepa situation that's going on?
I mean, the irony is unbelievable. The fact that he didn't go off under Sarri 4 years ago for a penalty shootout in the same competition when Sarri was trying to take him off and bring I can't even remember who was meant to come on in his place now. Do you remember he's like waving? He's still like waving, like, nah, I'm not coming off.
Yeah. God.
But so he didn't want to come off for. So the irony that he was the guy that was like coming on.
It's like, in a way, I feel sorry for him because it's him who's missed the penalty, but that's kind of what he's advertised himself as a penalty expert. And
Well, I'm first of all not a fan of this whole subbing. I think it heaps so much pressure on the performance. It's like an unnatural performance at a time.
yeah,
Like Kepa's thinking about, I've got to be good because, like, especially Mendy's just been like outrageous.
yeah, no, like Mendy's arguably Chelsea's man of the match, or if not the man of the match, and he's on form. He's warmed up. He's ready to go, and Mendy's not exactly a bad keeper.
I know. That's my mate messaged me during that and being like, "Is Mendy the best keeper in the world?" During the game, and then subbed him off before pens.
Yeah.
And there's another thing as well. Pressure situation. Mendy's massive. He looks massive.
Yeah.
Like Kepa is like a Shea Given-esque smaller goalkeeper.
Yeah,
Athletic and all that, but he's like,
yeah, like,
like when you see like Courtois, like fills the goal. Like Mendy fills the goal. So
I know what you mean. He just looks a bit of a slimmer frame.
So like when he's definitely got like probably 3 or 4 inches in height on him as well, and just turns out like just looking massive. You know, in a pen shootout, when you're like daunted by the fact that keeper fills the goal,
Yeah.
you're less daunted by Kepa. So all in all, but I mean the standard of pens.
They were outrageous, weren't they? I haven't seen a penalty shootout like that for a long time. By like Liverpool centre half Konate, all of the pens were great.
Marcus Alonso's was the only one Kepa got anywhere near, and that was probably an okay pen. But the rest of them like side netting. Like minimum was the side netting. Most of them were either top up. I mean, who did the Panenka? Fabinho, just like second pen.
And then the one for me, which I thought had like the biggest balls, was, Van Dijk stepped up and Kepa went to one side.
Yeah.
And left him like a big area to shoot at, and Van Dijk like just drilled it past him on like his near post.
Yeah, the quality of pens was just unbelievable. And then even like is it Kelleher? Is that his name? Like,
the Irish keeper.
His pen was actually just if you kept me thinking, I've got a chance here.
Yeah, it's an absolute rocket.
Absolutely rocketed in top and Kelleher's pen. So there was only 2 people I thought, and when you look like a pen shootout and you think gonna miss. I definitely thought Werner was gonna miss.
Yeah.
I looked at Werner and he was like,
he doesn't fancy this.
I didn't fancy it at all. I was watching it with the missus. She was like, he looks like an apprentice, like a little apprentice who's like getting told off.
Yeah.
You just like, and it seemed to take ages for the whistle to blow, and I was like, oh, nah. I didn't want him to because he had so much flack. So I was glad he scored. But the other one, it was like Kepa. I was like, he's missing. He's absolutely missing.
Yeah, it was just written, which was horrible. But yeah, the fact that if it's saved, but the penalties almost seem worse when they just get skied. It's anyway. But yeah, overall, Liverpool lifting that 11-10 on pens. I don't think many people would have got that in the bookies.
No, not that. How much can they win this season? In the same position City were last season in 4 competitions, won the Carling Cup or the Carabao Cup.
Well, Trent posted on
104.
104, yeah, walking down the corridor holding on the trophy, saying 104.
Pretty cool picture that.
Yeah.
What do you reckon they'll win? They win Champions League.
You reckon?
Yeah, I think they win the Champions League. I'm not sure if they will win the Champions League. It's hard, but obviously, but
I don't know. I haven't thought that far. I can't see them come back for the Prem. I said City at the start, so I'll stick with City.
Yeah.
Champions League, it's so hard to call right now. Like team, it's just on the day, isn't it? So yeah, I'm gonna sidetrack. I'm gonna step aside, sidestep that one, mate. Yeah. But anyway, let's go to some Prem stuff, mate.
Yeah.
Not very often we start off with these, but we're going to start off Leeds.
Yeah.
Leeds 0, Spurs 4. And they depart with what number manager of the season is this? Must be in the double figures right now.
11 or 12 or something, is it?
Yeah, somewhere around there. Bielsa. I tweeted during this game how much longer will he keep his job for, because Leeds broke a record in February for most goals conceded in a month.
Yeah. 20 goals in a month, right?
Yeah, 20 goals. And there's some other stat as well where it was to do with 3 goals in a game for the most consecutive games.
Yeah, 5 consecutive, 4th second Premier League team to concede 3 goals plus in consecutive games. 5 consecutive. Sunderland, 2005 was the last time. Obviously.
Yeah, obviously Sunderland.
They've conceded 40 goals in the last 12 Premier League games.
It's madness, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolute madness. So, right call, Bielsa?
I think so, for the betterment of the club staying in the league. I do.
Yeah.
I think of the way Bielsa plays. I think he needs his quality players on the pitch, and he just hasn't got it.
Mm-hmm.
So without him, without them, you can maybe eke more out of the team with somebody who would become more rigid, more structured, more maybe difficult to beat.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I'm crying for Sam Allardyce. I just think somebody who is going to be trying be more defensively resilient.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen the outcry from Leeds fans?
What's that?
Loads of Leeds fans being anti get rid of Bielsa. Loads of them are still,
didn't want to get rid of him, sorry.
Loads of them are still pro Bielsa.
I think it was quite split though. I think a lot of them were still on the he got us back into the Premier League. But when your team's getting ripped apart, the first tweet I made before Bielsa is this his time up was, where's the Leeds defence? Are they on holiday or what? Because the first 3 goals they conceded was horrific, especially after they just got drummed by by Liverpool, 6-0.
Right.
You think the next game they'd almost try and just shoot up the back and make sure they don't concede for the first 20 minutes, but it's no, centre halves darting forward, making quick runs and 1-2s, and you see Ayling charging through the opponent's half, and what are you doing, man? You got Son and Kane at the other end who are
just can't wait for the space.
Yeah, and Son's rapid as well. He had an absolute field day.
Yeah, I messaged one of the group chats and 10 minutes in, but Kane's gonna you'll love this today.
Yeah, but Kane and Son broke the record, didn't, which is everyone knows about.
Side note, yeah.
Yeah, 37 goals taken over Drogba and Lampard, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Kane's passing, I don't know how I've missed this, but his long ball to put Son through was incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's week after week. Now, he did that on Mourinho so much. He just had a poor season this season to start with. But yeah, there's been a couple of displays now that he's been very good. Obviously, Man City he was outstanding in that game.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's probably was very good, helped by a really open Leeds side. I mean, if you ask Harry Kane what kind of team he wants him and Son to play against, it would be a Leeds kind of model.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a few facets. I think first of all, I think the Bielsa way is very good for. You can't say that he's not done an incredible job, but they've still had a shoestring string budget. They didn't overly spend and go absolutely crazy a lot of teams do in the Championship to chase the Premier League dream. They didn't do that. He just put together a team of misfits and sort of average players and became brilliant. Played amazing football, exciting football, and then
great for the neutral.
Oh, class! Yeah, they were brilliant. I just think when it comes down to it, he could have backed him a bit more, so he had more quality players, whether it was him or whether it was the club. And I just think when it comes down to injuries, I know everyone has injuries, but you can't lose your 2 centre halves, your best hold midfielder, and your centre forward, all season, and expect that not to affect you.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where I think, is it easier to coach 2 players that are average to be rigid, compact, stay tight, move as a unit, than it is for you to have this unnatural kind of man marking system where they haven't been coached like that for all their careers until now. So
I know, because he did do a great job. He's turned what were average players into good Premier League players.
Yeah.
But then I just think it comes a point where you have to change the style a little bit when you haven't got the players to play the style he wants to. And that's what they've been getting found out, because they've had so many of the main players missing, but he's still stuck to his guns and it's either gung-ho or it's gung-ho, that's the only way we play.
And also the fact that, I think you mentioned it last week, the second season syndrome.
Yeah.
People are now, that's not their performance levels may be the same, they may be still running as hard, they may be working as hard, but teams are now really sort of discovering and figuring out ways in which to pick them off.
Mm-hmm.
And we said it last week, didn't we? The better teams with better quality players, when you give them the space, this is what they've always for the last 18 months basically, they've lost against the better sides convincingly.
Yeah,
because they've got better quality players. Yeah,
there's been some drums. Even Man United scored four against them.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, all right, and then let's next go to this was a big game at the bottom, Brentford Newcastle.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk a great deal about this one because me and Jans are starting a little side project as well.
Yep.
Called NUFC Talk. So we're going to be producing a second pod and also another YouTube channel,
Yeah.
Facebook group to go alongside Newcastle. Because if you're a regular listener, you'll understand me and Jan, just by our accents, but also we are huge Newcastle fans, and we want to make sure the pod doesn't turn into us drumming up Newcastle every single week. So we're going to be doing a separate pod on Newcastle. So if you want to listen to more in-depth thoughts on Newcastle, you just Google, search YouTube on all your favourite podcast streams, NUFC Talk, you'll be able to find us doing a second pod there as well. But for people who just listen to that FC,
yeah,
the next 45 minutes on this guy.
People like hate Newcastle. Hate Newcastle. What do you think? I thought was I know obviously the red card obviously is massive in the game, but
Yeah.
I was pretty disappointed in Brentford from this podcast standpoint, not a Newcastle fan standpoint. I thought they were really average. Thought the red card obviously changed it. Red card for you?
Yeah, red card all day
Not for
long.
Paul Merson, apparently. Paul Merson said he was unlucky to get a red card.
Well, Mike Dean gave a free kick to Brentford.
Mike Dean just does what he wants, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's a ref this game anyway I fancy.
I watched it and I was like, how does he give a free kick to Brentford? And then I probably had like 2 hours of some me time. So I had like the game on, I had Sky Sports in the background.
Glorious.
Yeah. Mike Dean's giving free kick to Brentford. Paul Merson saying like it's not a red card. I'm like shouting. Andrew shouting at me for shouting. Jack shouting. The new dog's going nuts. So.
I watched the full 90 minutes on because it was game of the day on Sky. So I watched like the whole 90 minutes of the match, like its highlights. And yeah, they were constantly saying it was an awful tackle.
Yeah.
He's obviously gone to do that thing where you protect the ball, get your body in front of it, and you get caught and you get a free kick.
Mm-hmm.
But like you don't jump like 3 foot to do that.
Yeah.
So
could have been nasty that like.
yeah, I think there's a different array of red cards, but endangering an opponent is a red card.
Yeah, straight red.
So yeah, straight red. And then I thought they were really poor. And then I thought, yeah, I was disappointed in terms of Brentford. I think they looked a bit like a little bit beaten early doors, like.
So would you say, Jan, that they're getting further into the relegation battle?
Absolutely, I reckon. I'm going to have slices, spoonfuls and handfuls of humble pie, like, because I think you may be right. I think Leeds might survive, but I do think Brentford will.
I think it could end up being a surprise. I think it's going to be Norwich. It's going to be Watford.
And I think so as well.
And
yeah.
I think it could be a surprise of a Leeds.
If I was putting money down now, I'd be putting Brentford on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if anyone who's new to the channel, hasn't listened to the pod, anyone who listens to the pod will get sick of me mentioning this every single week because Jan give me absolute daggers and digs at the start. I keep referring to Brentford as the Blackpool, where they'll get drawn.
So true, by the way. It actually has come. Yeah. It has come to fruition, hasn't it?
Yeah, well,
maybe.
If they go on a mad run right now, we'll probably never talk about it again.
Christian Eriksen, when he came on,
class.
That didn't get enough mention. That volleyed through ball.
Yeah, that pass.
That was like outrageous. There was one David Silva did against Man United in the 6-0, I think, at Old Trafford, where I think he put Dzeko through, and it was like one of the assists of the season. That if he went through on goal and scored there, was it Ivan Toney maybe? That'd have been one of the assists of the season. It was just out of nowhere, first touch, volley, straight into his.
Yeah, it was class.
It was brilliant. So yeah, he might be the galvanising factor that drags a few players with him.
Mm-hmm.
That can maybe get them back on track, but they really did look really, really average. I thought they had so much. Like Fraser had so much space. Like Fraser, it wasn't as if he was like Giggs going past his man and getting the ball, and he was just getting the ball in like 20 foot of space and whipped it in.
But then at this point, Brentford were behind. They were having to come at them a little bit. There's going to be extra space for being out in 10 men, but yeah, I just think Brentford's losing ahead a little bit, and the romance at the start of the season being the Premier League's wharf.
1 point in 8 games.
That's when you got one outcome, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, and then next, Everton 0, City 1. What's that? Lampard's won 1 from 4 now. Is that his second defeat?
Yes, I think maybe, yeah.
So his job is getting bigger and harder by the week, isn't it?
Wasn't helped this week though, was he?
No. VAR, let's jump straight to it because basically the whole game was Man City's every game when they're camped on the side of it, outside the 18-yard box. Everton defended really well.
They actually played pretty well, Everton, by the way. I thought they were pretty decent.
I thought they defended well as a unit and tried to get them a few times.
Hold on, can we just, before we go into VAR, can we just highlight how awful of a goal that was to concede? Like, I know it's like, just mistakes happen, but when you can see a mistake from 4 seconds away, and you don't...
You actually give him digs last week as well, didn't you, Michael Keane?
I think he's really average. I think he's robbing a living in the Premier League. I really do. I think he's like a championship level.
When I saw him do that, I'm like, Jan's definitely going to mention this, so I thought I'd bring it up before you did.
One thing...
That's a joke.
One thing I would say is, though,
that could be a noise every time someone does a howler.
Look at it right now.
It's not working now.
But when you know when you play sort of five-a-side and stuff, and like in the last 15 minutes, your brain's like, "There's the ball, let's run and get it," but your feet are like running through. I think he was just a bit of that way. He's just, was it like late on in the game, and he was just...
Look, 82nd minute they scored. Like, they've been getting battered for 80 minutes against Man City. Like, you got to be switched on the whole time, and they didn't get much of a breather. So I don't want to give them an out, but it's a howler of a mistake. But you can almost understand why.
It was the time, wasn't it? It was how long. It's like you could see it coming, like the ball coming for about 3 seconds, and he's just...
Another game as well where Pickford kept the minute. We give him some massive bills last week where he kept the score respectful and turns on when he got beat, whereas this time he kept the minute.
Yeah.
If Everton don't have some sort of reaction where they start moving up and start showing some change, do you think Pickford might look to change club?
Well, yeah, he's probably.
He's England's number one.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be in relegation battles.
Yeah, it's an argument to say how many clubs would want him. I think for me, like Pickford, like he's obviously the England dressing room, he's really well thought of. Clearly, I think Southgate thinks he's a really big part of the dressing room and a big part of that. And he has Southgate's total faith. I think he's got a trait of losing his head, hasn't he? Mm-hmm. Like he loses his head like when he plays Newcastle. Sometimes does some mad things where he just like. You say, what are you doing? Just relax, calm down. He seems to lose his head a bit being a Sunderland fan. But I don't know, maybe. But I felt sorry for Frank. Lampard.
Frank.
Yeah, I don't know him at all. But I did.
Which managers do you know? No, if you don't know Frank.
I did feel sorry for Frank. And he said like sort of the table doesn't look great, and it didn't look great when I got here, but it's going to take time. It might be a bit of pain basically before we get on the right track. I think he was kind of setting up as going to be a rough couple of games maybe, but getting to the VAR, like, that is the worst decision I've ever seen in terms of VAR.
Yeah, for them to come out and apologise as well afterwards, like they've come out and... Was it the... I've got his name.
Mike Riley?
Someone's come and apologised for the decision.
So Mike Riley, who runs the PGMOL or whatever it's called, the managers club. Oh, sorry, the referees club he runs.
Yeah, right. Sounds like a fun club to be in, doesn't it?
Club referee, he runs...
It's just Mike Dean fist pumping in the corner every week, no one else says anything.
Mike Dean would definitely have the playlist, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
His tunes are no tunes. But yeah, Mike Riley came out and sort of apologised to our Frank. And rightly so, I mean, it was an awful decision. I don't understand it. I can't... So the other ones, in other things, like, you know, like, one of the worst ones this season definitely was Edison and Ryan Fraser.
Yeah.
That was a shocking decision, but I could see the logic and why you wouldn't, even though I thought it was completely wrong, but I could understand that point of view. I couldn't understand the point of view of not giving that as a penalty in any circumstance. Yeah,
I agree with that, mate. I was struggling to think of... Cause I can never do this in Newcastle games, but I can with other clubs. I try and put myself in the VAR's mind, like what's he think and why would he think this? But even from a neutral or the referee, I'm like, what's his argument to that not being a penalty?
Yeah, I mean, I know there's like stills, and the stills could be when the ball's further away, but when you see them at different angles, when the ball's like at the same time where you've got split screen, it's so obviously like right, it's right in his like elbow, like it's practically touching his forearm.
Yeah.
And that could be like, that could be
Big point at the end of the season for Everton.
it could have been
Or Man City.
Liverpool, yeah, like title race. If that was down to 2 points,
Yeah, that's going to get brought
and they
back
go to
up.
the Etihad and they win, it's game on. They got better goal difference. It's Liverpool driving seat then.
That's a massive decision.
Even Pep said, because he asked if there was a offside in the build up, but I don't think there is an offside in the build up. And then he said if there's no offside in the build up, it's a penalty. Pep said that, yeah. But he did say, it was like, do you think these things could decide a season? And then obviously Pep comes across as like someone that hates talking to the media.
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
he?
like a chore.
But he was like, no, there's lots of decisions, but that should have been a pen.
Pep.
Awful.
Well, Pep can say what he wants.
Yeah.
And let's go to another team on the slide. Brighton, mate.
Yeah.
Got beat 2-0 by Villa. Great goal by Cash.
Yeah. Good goal.
Yeah, Brighton, they've got some mad stats since they've released Dan Burn to Newcastle, haven't
I
they?
know.
Yeah, so he showed you what a huge part he was of their defence. Well, Brighton's one of them clubs which I like.
Yeah.
I like to see them do well because they're kind of one of them teams which is just well run, kind of similar to like a Wolves type club where well run, all the fans and players and everyone seems like just good people.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've been on a bit of a slide of late.
What is it? They've since Dan Burn went to Newcastle, Newcastle have conceded 1 in 3 and they've conceded 7 in 3.
Yeah,
And lost 4 in the spin.
3 or 4, something like that.
3 out of 4 maybe.
It is a big dip. I think they've lost 7 and they'd only lost 4 before, so there's 3 in however many games.
I think it's that maybe balance. A left-footed centre back gives such balance, doesn't it, to the way they want to play, especially stepping out of the ball. But I think Brighton just going to have these kind of like, it's just, I don't think there's much in that. I think Brighton just going to have these runs. They're not that good of a team. They're a good team and they're I think coach really well. But they're just going to have these kind of runs sometimes, as are probably Villa and Palace and like most of the teams outside the top 4 or 5 clubs are going to have these kind of runs because I
suppose you're right. If you're outside the top 8 to not in the bottom 5, you could lose 3, win 3, and yours is going to bounce in between. Yeah, suppose you're right.
So I wouldn't be too much if it went on for longer and there was threat of relegation. But one thing I would say is like the second goal they conceded was a pretty poor goal, a long ball, and the Watkins.
Was it Veltman? It was.
Yeah, but isn't he a fullback though? That's maybe where
that doesn't matter if you.
I know, I get that. Yeah,
you could be the. You could be the kit man, yeah. And I was thinking of like someone that's not a footballer and know how to just don't let it bounce.
Yeah,
let it clear any direction. Which, I was some horrendous defending, and
it was poor that.
I don't think that's excusable if you're a fullback or a centre half or the dinner lady. Like,
but it does probably prove that the fact that the balance of the team quality isn't quite right because they used to play either Veltman or Lamptey, and now they're playing Veltman tucked into the sort of the back 3 and no Dan Burn with a natural left foot on that side. Maybe it's a bit imbalanced, but yeah. Good win for Villa though. Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa.
Yeah, Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa needed that one. Let's go to a disastrous result. Man United 0, Watford 0. Man United 22 shots, 68% possession. Watford battling for their lives. This should be, and you think Watford beat Man United 4-1 away.
So they got 4 points off them.
If you look at the battle for 4th come the end of the season, and you've dropped or you've only taken 1 point off Watford. Yeah, that's horrendous. Yeah, for a club of Man United's where they want to be. I
mean, to be fair to Man United, it was like Pepperidge Farm on it. They absolutely battered them. They really did. Like in terms of like chances created, and I mean, I've got Ronaldo. Hits the post, has to score. I know it's Ronaldo, but he still should score. Bruno has to score at least one of his 3 chances. Like he had the cross that he put wide, which is like unlike Bruno. The 1-on-1, which is really like Bruno. Then he had another one. Elanga's probably the easiest one, which is a really nice bit of football. Goes into Pogba and a little back heel sort of flick. Elanga just puts it wide of the post. It was interesting. 23 shots, only 3 on target. That's quite interesting, isn't it?
It's just come back to the point which I want to discuss in a further pod about flops and transfers, but Ronaldo, is he just not... Is he almost a player that you got to save for the Champions League, Cup games, impact sub? Because in the league, we're just not doing it right now.
Yeah.
Champions League, it's almost like he saves himself his big performances for the Champions League, where he's figured,
Big games.
Look, best case we can get fourth. That's not going to go in his trophy cabinet. Whereas for the Champions League, he just seems to galvanise and have this extra effort. Do you know what I mean? Like, where he wants to win things.
Aura about him in the Champions League, yeah.
He wants to win things, and you can see him walking up the pitch and gearing players up in the Premier League. He's storming off, like he's sat there sulking, like his body language is just completely different in the Premier compared to...
Maybe he's just not the player he was. Like, he's not that. And in the Champions League, not that they've got lucky, but he's been clinical and taking a few chances that he's getting later on in games. I just don't think he's the player he was anymore.
No.
Yeah, sad. Well, not sad, just happens, like, out with the old in with the new, like, that makes space for the next generation, that we kind of keep hanging on to Messi and Ronaldo.
Yeah, maybe Man United just have to say, look, we've made millions off the shirt sales, now it's time to...
See you later.
time to move on.
Then
we're rattling on to...
Palace Burnley?
Yeah, Palace Burnley 1-1. Sean Dyche, they just...
Mate, have you seen that? 7 games, 4 draws, 2 wins, 1 loss, only against Liverpool. 3 conceded in that period of time.
Is that since 2018?
Last time they played, pre-COVID. But in the last 7 games, so when everyone had them down, they obviously hadn't played a bunch of games, and people weren't expecting them to win because they hadn't. I know, like, Newcastle took some of like that spot out of the way, but Burnley had also only won 1 game.
Yeah.
Up until like the kind of when the games started getting cancelled and or postponed. 7 games, 4 draws, 2 wins, 1 loss, 3 conceded. That is so good. They're in a form team, aren't they?
Yeah. Sean Dyche must have heard like all the clubs in. They're definitely, or the pundits and people like us. They're definitely down. And this is where you enter one of the memes where Sean Dyche is like, "Hold my beer."
Yeah.
Watch your space.
I just think I was listening to one of his post-match interviews where he's just saying like, we never listened to any of that noise. We think the performances have been there. We knew we'd go pick up points. We've got the games. We just got to start playing them. So I think he's being really cool, like, and like sort of calm about it all, like sort of being there, done it vibe about him. So I tell you what, I found actually quite interesting. Never heard Lennon speak before, and then I heard his post-match interview. I was like, is that what he sounds like? I was like, what?
Yeah. Like, how's Aaron Lennon got to 42 and we never heard him speak before?
Yeah, I was like, wait there, what? That's not you.
Yeah.
But I just didn't expect it to sound anything like that. But all in all, Palace are going to finish sort of like, it just seems going to be a bit of a, not that the end of the season's not near, but it just seems that they're kind of petering out a little bit from the early season good form.
That's it, I suppose. Considering you had them banked 20th, mate, for them to be where they are right now, it's a successful season for them.
Can Palace still go down, do you think? They highlighted that Elise on the match of the day. He looks like a player. They've got some good players, haven't they? Palace just need to pick up a couple of wins and get back on track, I think.
Yeah. West Ham 1, Wolves 0. So this was the Sunday game because I watched part of it, and you could see David Moyes' relief and sort of keeping that hope and the dream for 4th place. Wolves, like, they kind of kissing that a little bit goodbye now. A couple of losses.
5 changes they made, didn't they? Though Wolves. So the big thing of this was Antonio. Antonio actually looked like that was his best game I've seen in maybe like about a month and a half, maybe.
He looked better, yeah.
He still missed a chance, and I think it was one where Zuma tried to like backheel it, and he was like absolutely furious because it was like on a plate like 4 yards out for Antonio. But he ruled kind of Cody once and got through on goal and stuff, and he just looked sharper. I think that if they can get him playing well again, that's massive. But yeah, really big win for West Ham.
And then another team which is on form, Southampton. They played Friday night, Norwich, didn't he? And Shea Adams turned into a little run of form now, a couple of goals. And
he's a good player, to be fair. Shea Adams, he's a good player. He's just maybe never going to be super consistent. But Romeo's goal, see that? Yeah, some straight that, wasn't it?
Yeah, like he absolutely battered that in there. He just gave it absolutely everything. He was probably more shocked than anyone when he saw the net move.
I watched. Do you see the pre-match chat about this whole 60, 70-minute drinks break thing?
No, go on then. Educate us.
So they highlighted this on Friday Night Football. Basically, what's happening is about 60, 70 minutes into the game. A player just looks around. It's like either like Armstrong or somebody has a little look round, then it's just like okay, then and just goes down, sits down, gets some treatment, and all the players go over the touchline next to Big Ralph. They all get energy gels, a little drink of water, get some tactics on board, and then the player gets up and walks off and has miraculous recovery. And they've gone back to like 6, 7, 8 games, however many games it was, and it's like 60 minutes, 60 odd minutes. Somebody just has a look round. Oh, bit injured now. Goes down. Go get your gel on, get your tactics, get your drinks. Clever in it, but I wonder if it'll still keep happening. But
I love all these conspiracy theories that come out.
It's true though. Like, if it's consistently happening, it was definitely they all run over and getting gel and just like there's nothing wrong with the player. It's a literally a look around. Is it time? Yeah, go down then. So I thought it was quite interesting.
Yeah, I'd never noticed that before.
No, but the highlight on there, Sky. I'll have to look out for that.
Anyone's on YouTube or anyone's on the pod, you're definitely going to be watching Southampton games just for the 60 to 65 minutes to watch the gel break, if anything else.
That's it, yeah.
But yeah, I think that pretty much rounds up.
That's it, yeah.
The Premier League is getting more interesting, but I just felt like as a whole this week, it felt like a little bit flat, the Premier League. The cup final was obviously interesting. There was some positive results for the teams at the bottom, but overall it wasn't like maybe Tottenham Leeds was interesting, some stories there, but it felt a bit of a flat weekend overall for the Premier League, do you think?
Yeah, I think the obviously the biggest talking points were definitely the handball and obviously Bielsa.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was a bit of a nothing really. I think when you take like Salah and that out of the Premier League game, it probably makes a big difference. Liverpool obviously one of the most exciting teams to watch. And then, but all about Kepa and his pen, man.
That's it.
It's all about that this week.
I think that wraps up, doesn't it?
That's it, mate. Yeah.
Okay, and there we go, Jan. Another week's done. That episode seemed to fly by.
I know, it's good. Got to be one of our shortest episodes, surely. Feels like it anyway.
Yeah, I suppose with no Liverpool and Chelsea playing. And it just didn't seem it was a huge goal fest. So next 2 weeks, we've got some double game weeks coming up. So I'm sure we'll keep our better halves happy by spending more time on here talking football and watching football as well. That also goes down really well. But as we mentioned, please follow us on all forms of social media. So we are Instagram, we are TikTok, we are Twitter, we are
Facebook,
we are Dimension Instagram. Dimension Instagram. And also a new pod that we are setting up as well, a little side pod called NUFC Talk, because me and Jan are lifelong Newcastle supporters, and we want to spend some time talking to more Newcastle, but for all our friends and also everyone on social media who are our social media friends, you might not want to hear all that Newcastle banter, but if you do, go on to your favourite podcast platforms and download NUFC Talk, and also catch us on YouTube. As always, thank you for downloading, subscribing, like, share, and we'll catch you next week on the pod.